up? All right. A nice surprise. I found a bottle of lemon water sitting beside me. I thought I wouldn't be able to have anything to drink. I was going to have to do this, you know, podcast dry. I don't like to do podcasts dry. Anyway, it's a nice sunny day in the city of Long Beach. And, you know, I don't like to just, oh, this is Judas from Judas Plus. I'm just not the kind of person who likes to just make stuff and bank stuff. I like to, I like to, well, I like to have something important to say, or I like to have something that has some value, or tell a cool story. I could come on every day and say something, you know, but I don't. But what I want to talk about today is words. Words, words, words. And these are thoughts that I've had about certain words and why we use them. And remember, this is just a conversation. It's I'm gonna say certain theories and thoughts on the fly. And I don't have a computer to back up if what I'm saying is 100% accurate. So, I mean, take everything with a grain of salt or cinnamon. Grain of cinnamon. Why does it have to be salt? Cinnamon. We're always looking at the negative. Anyway, there's some overused words that I'm starting to hear all the time. And I noticed it last year. I noticed these words kept popping up in the conversation lexicon of every political, sports, entertainment show that had various just bobbleheads talking. I don't even call them talking heads. It's bobbleheads. Just bobbleheads. And it's like shows like The View and the pundits on ESPN and Don Lemon, whoever. I mean, they're just like caricatures. They're just puppet shows. Like I picture like there's a big hand up Don Lemon's back, just making his mouth move up and down. But one thing I notice is they seem to keep spewing the same three words, maybe more words, but these are the ones that I constantly hear, and many of them are misused or they're just said, forced down our throats, forced down in our conversation until we start to use them. And when morons start to use these words, I know that, man, this has to be some sort of conditioning, you know? So, the words I'm constantly hearing are platform, they are brand, and narrative. Platform, brand, and narrative. Everybody's a brand. Everybody wants or has a platform. And everyone want you to stick to the narrative. I mean, these are real pretty words, I guess, highly overused. And they seem to be put in the wrong people's mouth. I don't, I don't want to see some uh, linebacker on post concussion protocol who's now working on a studio set at ESPN using the word narrative. I don't want to hear somebody sitting around a table of four cackling women talking about their brand, their brand. They're destroying their brand. They're enhancing their brand. And I don't want to hear some, you know, punch drunk boxer telling me about, well, somebody has a platform. They need to effectively use their platform. Like, for example, LeBron James has a platform. He should be using his platform for good. Come on, man. Be serious. Do these people really use these words in everyday life? No. They're pre-scripted by some producer, probably whispering them in their ears via, hidden headset, earpiece. Now, a little background. I came up in a pretty smart family. Mom and dad, smart, well spoken. Um, don't really have the nauseous South Jersey accent that everybody below the city of Trenton seems to have trapped in their larynx. Oh my gosh, man. I don't even know how to describe this accent. It's a horrible accent. But they're always well spoken. We used to have like discussions and politics, religion at an early age. I remember being involved in conversations at an early age. I could keep up. I could keep up with them. My parents put us in like private school, St. Matthew's, and I was a pretty smart kid there. Probably one of the smartest in the class. So like I'm no dummy when I say the things that I say, or I spout the theories that I've had lodged deep down inside my gray matter. Nah. So I know when I'm hearing authentic, you know, authentic speech. And I know when I'm hearing some mushmouth regurgitate words they have no business saying. Okay, so platform, brand, and narrative. Okay, what is a platform? I mean, an actual platform. A platform is like a raised construction, usually has about four legs. It has a floor and is elevated off the ground for all to see. That's why a platform is constructed, to be raised off the ground so everyone can see. The higher the platform, the more people can witness the event. Okay, so what kind of things did they used to do on platforms? Well, They gave speeches on platforms. A politician or a king or somebody important, usually somebody important, would step upon a platform and give a speech to the people, and the people would listen, and that'd be it. What else do people do on platforms? People entertain on platforms. They go on top of a platform and they juggle, put on a show. Because a platform is nothing but a dressed up stage. It's basically the same device. It's basically the same thing, but a stage is just dressed. I mean, you actually have people who are hired to design a stage for that performance. So a stage is just a dressed up platform. So people entertain on platforms. What else do people do on platforms? People give edicts, laws, they give orders. Like, for example, if the constable had to come out and put a curfew on a town or city, they go step upon the platform and they say, hey, everybody got to be in by 6. We're shooting them. So a platform. Okay. What else do people do on platforms? People execute on platforms. You get hung. People used to get their heads cut off, decapitations, or they were tortured on platforms. So that's what a platform is. So, what is our modern day platform? Facebook, Twitter. I'm not really a Twitter person. I'm not on Twitter. I just never had any appeal to me. I didn't like to be on. I mean, I had a Twitter account. I've never used it. I might activate it again, maybe for the podcast and blog and other things that I'm doing. But I never really saw it taking off. Like when Twitter first came out, I wasn't like, well, how's one line going to entertain people? And to my surprise, I was wrong. Lemon water, delicious, delicioso, revigorating. Water, agua. So so yeah, Instagram, not really a platform. I mean, it's turning into a platform because things are being more simplified. The simplification of just speech. People would rather see pictures now than look at a pile of words. I think. I'm not sure. I think everybody likes a story still. They just want you to get straight to the point. Like I'm trying to get to the point right here. So platforms. So what do we do on Facebook, the platform? We entertain. We give our political opinion. We give our sports opinion. Uh, Laws and different codes are talked about. I'll get that. Like I said, it's a remote podcast. You're gonna hear all kinds of ambiance. Some of it may be entertaining. Some of it may be irritating. But it's a conversation. Just like we're at a coffee house. Pretend we're at a coffee house. We're in a nice coffee house in Bixby Knolls, sitting outside. You have a cafe latte. I have a green tea, honey, jasmine. And we're both sipping and talking. Maybe we see a person we know, give them a little wave, back to the conversation. So we're in a coffee house. Just picture me and you are in a coffee house. Not a busy one, not a downtown LA coffee shop off Wilshire. No, a nice coffee house with nice people, having a nice conversation. Maybe somebody might join us, maybe not. So, platforms. Our president speaks on a platform. Whoever thought that would happen? But that's how valuable a platform has become. But remember what I said in the original statement: important people used to get on platforms. Twitter, Facebook, um, there probably would be others, but with the monopolies going on right now, there's no chance for one to even squeeze through. So the platforms are social media. Like it or not, that's the new platform. I mean, people are getting executed on social media. If you give an opinion that the masses on your friends list don't like, then you're executed. You're tortured. You have people attacking you from all sides, taking your post, showing your post to other people, what a moron you are, putting your picture up. No, just putting all your information out there. Because that's what it is. Social media. Social media is the new mob with torches. Your friends list are your judges. It's your community. Your friends list has now become your community. I mean, some people have become so clandestine with their social media, like they won't let you on their Instagram unless they really know you, because that's their community. So we have your platform and the community supporting your platform. So that's what a platform is. So when you hear these mushmouth, just these mushmouth word abusers out there saying he has a platform, I have a platform. No, you don't have a platform. You don't. A platform is elevated high in the ground for all to see. You're on a TV show for 30 seconds. You're a sound bite. You're not a platform. Okay. All these people who are giving these number one, you don't give a platform to anybody. Platforms are given to people for a reason. Okay. And everybody's platform is for different agendas. I'm pretty sure you don't want an athlete to use their platform for politics, because all you want that dude or that girl to do is play the dang game. Just play the sport. That's all you got to do. Just play the sport. I don't want to hear your politics. Don't get political. Don't talk about China. Okay? Just put the ball in the hoop. Just run. Take that ball and run. Okay? Maybe back in the day, during the 60s, people used their platforms. Well, people used other people's platforms. Okay? Like if you're walking onto a TV set, that's not your platform. That's their platform. Now you're entertaining on the platform. You understand, a lot of people don't even own the platforms that they're on. It's very rare somebody owns their own platform. So you're working on someone else's platform or performing or giving a speech, but it's because they're letting you. Okay? Like the town platform in the middle of the city. You can just walk up on that. Hey man, get off the platform. Get off the stage. You go on the stage anywhere, what do they tell you? Hey man, get off the stage. Unless you have business to be up there. Like if you're gonna walk on a high school stage, just think about it. Just go walk on a stage somewhere. Go on a platform. Just go there. Even if there's nothing going on. Eventually, somebody's going to come by and they're going to be like, "Excuse me, sir. Can I help you? What are you doing? Oh, sir, could you get off that stage?" And look, it's just an elevated floor. But a platform and a stage are constructed for reasons. So if you're on a platform, you better have a reason. Now, if you don't believe me, just go. Look, go to a high school, go to a college, go somewhere where they have a stage, and just go on a stage and sit there. Eventually, someone will come by and ask you, "Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, ma'am. Can I help you? What are you doing on the stage?" Now go and sit in the lobby somewhere. Nobody will even help you. Even if you're supposed to be helped, nobody's going to help you. So platforms are for a reason. So all these maniacs out here saying this person has a platform. I have a platform. No, you don't. You don't have a platform. You don't. A platform reaches a lot of people. Okay. Your little Facebook group is not a platform. I think that's the Amazon truck. So that's platform. Oh man, this water is good. Filtered water. If you get the filtered water at the fast food places, it's the best water. Put some lemons in there. Mmm. I mean, it's good for you. Yeah, well, think what's the Amazon truck, man. Amazon has some of the most horrible delivery people in the world. Once my brother got my daughter her Christmas present. It was a Hatchimal, and Amazon delivered it from my place. They put it in the alley on a trash can. That's Amazon. My daughter's gift, they put on a trash can in an alley. Just the total symbolism, the symbolism of that shows you what Amazon really thinks about you and how they really care about their customers or their staff. It's either one. Either you don't care who you're hiring or you don't care about the people who purchase and use your company. Because when a little girl's present is left on a trash can in an alley, that's just enough symbolism for me. Corporate America. I hear you. I hear you, Jeff. I hear you. I see how you operate, Jeff. It's cool. Yeah. Yeah. Amazon has a platform, their streaming device, you know. Maybe I'll never get on there now, but, it's what it is. I mean, it wasn't a streaming device that left my daughter's present in the alley, but, hey, it is what it is. Anyway, bygones are bygones. I forgive them. It's gone. They gave my brother a new Hatchimal, which he sent back down to my daughter. So it all got fixed. That's how it happens. Well, anyway, so let's get back. So we talked about platform. Brand is next. Not this. This is just horrible. When people talk about their brand, they're hurting their brand. Branding. He's hurting his brand. Okay, so I had this dude come up to me, talking on the phone. He's a fat black Cuban dancer, like ballet dancer from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And we're talking on the phone. And I wanted to use his picture because he's funny looking. So I wanted to use his picture for a podcast I was doing on Popeye's chicken sandwiches. And he said, "Look, man, don't do anything that's going to hurt my brand." Okay, a brand is something that you purchase, like Kellogg's. Kellogg's is a brand of cereal. Okay, so I purchased Kellogg's cereal. It's a brand. Okay, Coke is a brand. Okay, Popeye's chicken is a brand. If anything, I'm hurting Popeye's chicken's brand. But this silly chunky boy said, "You're gonna hurt my brand." Okay, a brand is something people buy. People purchase. People pay money for a brand. Nobody is going to pay money for a chubby, mocha, Cuban, former Alex Haley dancer. They're not paying for it. Matter of fact, Popeye's chicken might get mad at me and say, "Man, what are you doing? Take that off." But yet, I mean, if anybody looks like they eat Popeye's chicken, he looks like he eats a lot of Popeye's chicken. So that's why I said this is where this world has trickled down to the ears of the nonsensical. Because he's an idiot. Brand. When people like Alonzo are using the word brand, then you know we are being conditioned by bigger forces. I'm not a conspiracist. I'm just saying. Come on. LeBron James is a brand. Michael Jackson was a brand. Okay, yes. But a brand is something that you buy, it's something that you purchase. That's a brand. Okay? A brand is you're making money. Like you are a monetary, let me think of a better word. You are a walking, talking business. That's like if Coke could walk, if Coke could talk. Okay, no, you're a consumer. That's all you are. We're consumers. We're not brands. You're not hearing your brand unless you're making money. Unless you're making somebody money. If you're making somebody money, yes, you're a brand. Okay? Then you're a brand. I'm trying to think of a good brand. Okay. Like for example, Dietz and Watson. Okay, they sell meat. So Dietz and Watson sells hot dogs. The hot dogs are from the Dietz and Watson brand. Okay? So basically by saying that you're a brand, you're saying you're hot dogs. You're walking, talking hot dogs, and you're to be consumed. That's why if you say you're a brand and you're angered because people are meddling in your life, or you're angered because people are saying and making comments about you and talking about you, you're a brand. They're consuming you. You're to be consumed. You're not a person, you're an object. It's just different levels of it. For example, some people are on a high celebrity level. The brand is Hollywood. The brand is Warner Brothers Pictures. Okay? They put you in a movie, they branded you an action star, or they branded you a singer, they branded you a performer, and they sell you to the public. Or you're part of the ingredients to a bigger project, a movie. Okay? So when the public comes in and they start consuming you or chewing on you, meddling in your life, you know, wanting pictures, saying and doing what they want with your image, okay? Because you no longer belong to you. That's why you have to be careful. That's why they say sell your soul. Did you sell your soul? Or did you brand your soul? Is your soul a brand? I'm not getting religious. I'm just saying. Why do you think these people on the higher level of celebrity go into deep depressions? Why do you think they drink and use drugs to the point of almost suicide? Because they have realized they no longer belong to them. They've been branded. And here's the thing about a brand. Sometimes a brand is fresh and new, like True Religion jeans. So sometimes your True Religion jeans or your Joes or your Sevens, and sometimes your Lees. Lees were popular in the 70s, but nobody wants to wear Lee jeans now. Not outside. So if you've been branded Lees, you're Lees forever. Unless you rebrand yourself. And that's a whole nother process. Rebranding. So when some person off the street or somebody who's been in Hollywood for about 6 months or somebody who just started their own little podcast or, I don't know, writes a blog and talks about my brand. No, you're not a brand. You're a consumer because people buy brands. Are people buying you? Does your name resonate a picture in their head? Does your name want them to say, yeah, let me throw down some money here? Once you're a quote unquote brand, okay, you're open for public consumption. So people better want you. Now you have to make people want you. It's for your livelihood. So now you have to sell yourself. I mean, stripping is that in its very basic, primitive form. That's brand. So you're not a brand. If somebody's not calling you up, giving you a check to using your voice, your image, something that you've created, something that you've made, something that you've manufactured on a high level or mid-high level, then you're not a brand. So stop. Stop it. It's the personification of these simple words that are being sprinkled on the masses. And social media is to blame. I mean, I like to blame social media for everything. So this is just another thing to blame social media for. But I'm kind of tired about talking about branding. Matter of fact, it frustrates me because I'm thinking about all the people who have actually called themselves brands. Well, the Goodwill is a brand too. It is. So maybe you are a brand. If the Goodwill is a brand, then you are the Goodwill. And I hear there's some good stuff in the Goodwill. But people don't really see the Goodwill when they want to go shopping for top of the line. You know, food for less. They sell good food in there. So yes, food for less is a brand. So maybe you're right. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Subjective. But I would say, my humble opinion, while sipping my lemon water, is you're not a brand. Ah, delicious water. Oh, so good. I was surprised. I didn't think I was going to have anything to drink. I mean, sometimes I'll do these podcasts with alcohol, sometimes water, sometimes I'm tea, sometimes Diet Coke. Mm, I'm just glad when I have something, lubricates the old larynx. So what's the next one? What's the next one we're gonna talk about? My gosh. Narrative. Oh my gosh, narrative. Narrative, narrative, narrative. Oh, stick to narrative. That's the narrative. That's the narrative they want you to believe. That's the narrative. That's the narrative. That's the narrative. A narrative is a story. And it's not even, it's like a literary construct. Okay, there's like 4 or 5 parts to write a story. Okay, there's the opening, climax, the narrative, okay, and the closing. And they have the de-escalation too. If you go by the 5 step, there's the de-escalation. There's a climax, de-escalation, but the narrative is in the middle. It's the middle of the story. It's not even the whole story. A whole story has a beginning, middle, and an end. A whole story has 3 parts. So in a narrative, you're cutting out the beginning and the end, and you're only giving the middle. So remember, when somebody says follow the narrative, that means follow the part of the story that I want you to tell. Because a story has a beginning and an end. And many times, if you don't hear the beginning and you don't hear the end, then you haven't gotten the full truth. And that's why when somebody is giving the narrative, they are leaving things out. That's why when I hear a story from the news, I think they're leaving something out because they're following the narrative. And the narrative is just the middle of the story. Now, what part of the middle of the story are they following? Because it kind of boils down to, how much time you have to give your story. And many people's attention spans are not that high. The average human attention span is 20 minutes. So most narratives they're giving to you on entertainment news, on sports, the real news or the real fake news, they're giving you the narrative, a small portion of the narrative. They're giving you the part of the narrative that's going to keep you engaged the longest. That's why you hear the people who the story is told about coming out and like, man, that's only a small part of the story. That's only a small part of the narrative. But what do we constantly hear these mushmouth bobbleheads say? Follow the narrative. That's not the narrative. Follow the narrative. That's his narrative, her narrative. So basically, when they're saying follow the narrative, which is so popular on sports shows nowadays, the narrative, the narrative, the narrative. They just want you to follow the small portion of the story that they've put out there. Follow the portion of the story that we've provided. That's the narrative. So if you're talking to somebody and you're having a conversation and they're only providing a little bit of their narrative, they're not telling you the whole truth. And sometimes leaving stuff out is worse than a straight up lie. Sometimes, at least with a lie, you know you're being lied to. But when people are leaving things out of a story. They're like trying to manipulate the situation because they're trying to emotionally prick you into the direction they want you to go. Like spurs to a horse. Wonder why those horses in those cowboy movies are riding so quick? We look at the head of the horse, we look at the reins. The cowboy's pulling on the reins. No, it's the spurs. The spurs that are being thrown or stabbed into the horse's midsection. That's what's getting that horse going, those spurs. But you don't see that part because that's the part that's guiding you. So, why? Well, here's the thing. Words are important. See, that's one thing that I'm not saying they. Okay, well, whoever. Let's change they because people ask, well, who is they? Who is this big ominous they? Whoever. Whoever is trying to simplify our vocabulary so we're all saying the same thing. So everybody's saying brand, everybody's saying narrative, everybody. When you get the masses all speaking the same way, I mean that's conditioning. I mean that's 1984, baby, when everybody's saying the same thing. Words are beautiful. Words are powerful. That's another thing. When people say, "Oh, it's just words," uh, words aren't important. Well, prayer, that's words, and I think prayer is really important. There's scientific facts that vicious, hurtful, violent words actually have a neurological effect. They do neurological damage. People have been emotionally abused as children over words. Words have caused wars. Words have gotten people killed. Words have created buildings. Words created life. Let there be light. Like God didn't think that. He said it. Let there be light. And it was. And it was good. But I'm not going to get spiritual because I'm very conservative with who I speak about my spirituality with. Everybody's not supposed to hear what you say. You're not supposed to throw pearls to swine. So spiritual conversation will be very rare on any podcast, but let there be light. So why are people or they or whoever saying words aren't powerful? Because they're trying to take your greatest weapon from you. Words, speech, the ability to communicate, the ability to communicate with each other. But if we are not saying authentic words from authentic thought, no matter how simple or complex, then we're not talking. Or we are regurgitating somebody else's thoughts. Narrative. If somebody can say narrative and have everybody thinking what they want you to think, or brand, you're not a brand, you're a person. That's why people run from the entertainment business. They run from it because they don't want to be hot dogs. They're a person with a life. That's why when they go into a restaurant and people want to take their picture, and I'm pretty sure, honestly, it's not the picture. It's the way people probably ask them. Like, look, you belong to me. It's not the speech, man. Sometimes it's the inference. Like, you just walked into my dinner, interrupted me and my wife. I would like to eat this before it gets cold. I don't want to stand up in the middle of a restaurant and take a picture with you and you've already completed your dinner. It's embarrassing. More people will want to take pictures. I'm a person. But no, you're not. You're a brand. Coke doesn't complain. A Big Mac doesn't complain. Hot dogs does not complain or do not complain. Hot dogs is plural. A hot dog does not complain. So stop complaining. So a lot of these people who say they're a brand, you couldn't even handle being a brand. You jump ship. First time they point out the pimple on your face, you're done. You're out. You don't want to be a brand anymore. Only certain kind of people can be brands. But they want to make you feel like you're a brand, to make you feel like you're more important than you really are. To the grand scheme of things, maybe to yourself and your family and your friends, you're important as you should be, but to the grand scheme of things, you're not important to me. As a person, as a brother or sister in this world, yes, you're important to me. But other than that, you're not. Your everyday life and your activities and what you like and you don't like, it's not important to me. But social media makes us all feel very important. So we're brands, but you're not a brand. You couldn't be hot dogs. You could not be hot dogs. So stop. But words are important. Going back to that, sorry. Got a little excited. Words are very important. So they try to take the power of words away by giving us words they want us to say. And who are they? Look, whoever. Would you think all this stuff is random? Do you think random events just happen that all of a sudden we're saying narrative, brand, platform, that we're regurgitating all these $5 prefabricated words that aren't even being used correctly? A platform is a metaphor. Like, they're all metaphorical. So it's not even the actual word, it's a metaphor. So we're not actually words, we're metaphors. Because it's not the actual narrative. You're not standing on an actual platform. You're not an actual brand. I mean, people have actually been sold slavery, but that's a brand that's a part of history people want to ignore. Or other parts of history where slavery took place, which, Turkey, the Middle East, Africa, South America. Slavery is pretty popular. United States. United States didn't get that idea from anywhere. The Portuguese were like, hey, man, been doing the slavery thing, working pretty good. Well, who told you about it? The Muslims. They've been doing the Middle East for years. Yeah, slave trade. Yeah. So I'd say the closest thing to people being a brand are slaves. So think about that in the power of words. If you are a brand, you're basically an honest, real life, contextual, or context. You're a slave. Brands don't talk back. Brands just do what they're supposed to do. They're bought and sold. You're a brand. You're not standing on a platform. There's only two kinds of people, three kinds of people who stood on platforms. Oh, well, four kinds of people. Okay, so now we're starting to get to something here. Now watch this. Kings or important people stood on platforms. People ready to be executed or were going to be executed stood on platforms. But you know who else they put on platforms? Slaves. So if you're a brand, you're a slave. And to stand on a platform, they used to put slaves on platforms. Excuse my stuttering. A narrative. Narrative's only part of the story because a whole story has the beginning, middle, and the end. But if you don't really respect somebody, like think about somebody that you don't really respect, you don't really care about, and they ask you what happened, do you ever give them the whole story? Or do you just give them the quickest part you can put together? What happened? The guy ran down the stairs, the girl came across the street, the car hit them both, and they're dead. That's all. Because you don't really care about the event, and you don't really care about the person who asked you. Now, if you had any kind of vested interest in anything that happened in that incident, well, see what happened was the couple was arguing. I know John, and he would never argue, so it had to be Jill's fault. So Jill runs out of the house, and John chases her, and he's like, Jill, Jill. And Jill's like, no, John, no. So they cross the street, they start to tug at each other, and all of a sudden, a white Benz hits them both. Jill flies over here, John flies over here, John hits his head on the curb. Jill gets run over by the car. The driver gets out. He's going crazy. I called 911. See, when you have a vested interest in the story is told better. As writers, as filmmakers, we only give you the narrative when we're trying to sell you the whole story. Power of words. So when you break a word down and you see what it really means, and let me tell you something, your brain is subconsciously doing things that you don't know it's even doing. Your brain's already putting things together. Okay. So you're a slave on a platform. So you're a slave being sold, and nobody cares about your story. And those are the words that are being propagated within the whole population. That's why the authenticity of speech and the authenticity of words is so important. Don't become a slave to this new linguistical lexicon that pundits are pushing down your throat. When I hear too much, just verbal garbage, I just turn the TV off. It turns me off. Wrapping up, I learned the power of words when I went to Glassboro State, which is Rowan University right now. There was a class called semantics. I took that class. In that class was this very large, rough, older white man. I think he used to be a principal in North Jersey or something. He was a tough guy, very tough guy. He looked more cop than he did professor. But when he broke down and he taught us semantics and the power of words, it blew me away. And I never looked at words the same. And the power of words, and how words can be twisted and manipulated, how stories can be twisted, manipulated. So I guess it affects me a little different from the little bit of training I had that one semester at Rowan College with the professor whose name I can't even remember. But what I do remember is that class, semantics. So when you look at it, it's just words. It's just words, man. Hey, like I said before, a prayer is basically just words. A Miranda reading is just words. A spell is just words. A spell is nothing but a prayer. It's just in the other direction. Remember, just pearls to swines. In the Bible, Jesus gave his disciples the power over demons. And people have the same power. So when he gives you the power over a demon, that means you can kick them out of people, but you can also tell them what to do. And basically, that's what a curse is. And basically, that's all that a spell is. A curse or spell, you just telling the dark side what to do. But the thing is, evil will always turn on evil. Evil has no loyalty to evil. Good has loyalty to good. When's the last time you saw two good people out in the street fighting each other? When's the last time you saw two goons or two thugs or two bad people fighting each other? Happens all the time. Evil. Evil has no loyalty to evil. Anyway, you don't even have to believe that part. I might cut that part out. Why'd I even say it? I just thought I would say it. I don't know. Anyway, that's all I have to say about words. It's the only words I can really think about. There's probably more. I actually think slang and the new words that all the people are bringing up, they're actually cool, But the words that they're throwing at you from social media or television, when you start to hear certain words coming at you all the time from different sources, nothing is a coincidence. There's no such thing as coincidence. There's only such thing as stupid people. So anyway, who cares? Anyway, this has been Judas. Listen, do not let your ears betray you. All right. Have a good day. Signing off from Long Beach.